Hello everyone and welcome to SkShadow, welcome back to F1. So we are into the next race now, which is Paul Ricard. So on the weather side of things, in qualifying it's going to be dry, which is fantastic. But in the race it's going to be dry and then it's going to get very, very heavy rain. So I think that's going to make for a very interesting end of the race for us. I've done the practice, got the car set up, it's all good to go. Development wise, we have dropped below Alfa Romeo now, so we're the second worst team on the grid, above Williams, fair bit above Williams. But so aero wise, as you can see, we're just above Alfa Romeo but below everyone else. Engine wise, we're not too bad. I mean, I think we did pick the best engine when we started, so we're not doing too bad. And then chassis wise, we are third last, so not fantastic. We do have a durability upgrade coming and a aerodynamics upgrade coming, but the aero isn't going to come until 2 races time, so we're not going to see that for a little while. And then this is the last race for our gearbox, which is good because that is starting to wear a little bit. Gone for the soft tyre allocation because, you know, we're not going to be using mediums in Q2, we're nowhere near that quick. And just as a recap, we are 6th and 5th in the driver and constructor standings respectively. But moving on from that, we will jump straight into qualifying. So setup wise, I've gone for a 4.6 on the aero, but that's that. Suspension wise, all the way to the right, all the way to the left. Reasonably soft suspension, and then brakes all the way up and tyres like that. So for those of you that like to see setups, there it is. So that first lap actually puts us into P13 at the moment, just ahead of Norris and Magnussen, below Sainz, which is quite surprising. Our teammate is just under a second slower, so that is not great, but we are comfortably beating, obviously, my teammate, the Williams, the Alfa Romeos and the Haas. So all in all, I think that's a good job. Skip a little bit to the end and see if we need to do another run or if we should be able to just go straight into Q2. So we ended up P16, just below the Haas of Magnussen, but that does just put us into Q2. So in that first run I got a 129.942, which is very, very similar to what I got in Q1, and that puts us P15. So above Magnussen, which is the target, but below everyone else. So near the end of this session, I'm going to go for a second run. So after my second run, I actually managed a 129.658, which puts us P12. Partly because Carlos Sainz apparently didn't do a time. If we go into the race director, both of his laps were invalidated for 1, corner cutting, and then 2, exceeding track limits. So not a very good day for him, but P12 for us is fantastic. So hopefully we can try and turn that into potential points in the race.
Hello and welcome to the Circuit Paul Ricard, current home of the French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. It's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and Manicourt the feature of many a highlights reel. And let's hope we see more of those in the race today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel and Albon, Perez, Stroll, Ricciardo and Daniel Kvyat, Gasly, the engineer, Lando Norris and Ocon, Magnussen, Sainz, Romain Grosjean and Kimi Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Ireland, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So we are into the race now. The suggested strategy is mediums to hards. However, if I go personalised, it is softs to mediums. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the mediums to hards just because in the practice session that I did the thing, it was raining, so I'm not sure how realistic the expected tyre life is going to be. This lights out and away we go. get reasonable traction off the start. We've got Norris coming up our inside quite quickly. Got one of the Alpha Tauris up ahead locking up quite a lot. We out-traction Norris into the corner, so we've kept it, but he is faster in a straight line. So, however, we are coming up to a straight now, which, as we have seen, the McLarens are generally faster than us in a straight line. As you can see, they are gaining on us a little bit, but not enough at the moment, I'd say.
No rain expected. No rain expected for the time being. Dries seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
Apparently, there is no rain expected. I don't know if it sees that far in the future, but the weather forecast definitely said otherwise. We're crossing the line on the first lap. Not too much happened, but we have kept 12th place. Norris seems to have fallen back a bit because behind us is Ocon and Sainz, so he's actually been overtaken twice. So not a great day for him. Ahead we have Ricciardo and Kvyat, who are on softs. So I'm not too sure that we're going to be able to catch up with them without heavy use of the overtake, which we can't really afford. It'd be nice to be able to get into their DRS zone by lap 3, but I do not see that happening as they're already 1.5 seconds ahead of us at the moment. So it's lap 3 and DRS will be enabled, so Ocon will have that on us, which is not good for us unless we manage to get into the DRS of Ricciardo. We have not managed to get into DRS of Ricciardo, so Ocon is going to have DRS on us at the moment, and you can see that he is making his way towards us, but the overtake just about keeps him behind. If you can see that little yellow gearbox looking thing on the bottom right, that is telling us that our gearbox is worn. So we have the potential of some gearbox issues in this race, which would certainly spice things up a bit, as Paul Ricard is known to be quite a boring race. Although we do have that rain at the end, so that should hopefully make things a little bit more interesting for us.
We're leading our teammate by 6.4 seconds. They're on old mediums. They're in 20th. The time last lap was a 1 minute 35.9.
Sounds like our teammate is still in 20th, so he hasn't gained or lost any positions so far.
We think we may see some rain. ETA is about 15 minutes.
There we go. Jeff finally realising that it's actually going to rain. The soft runners ahead have gained about 2.8 seconds on us. So yeah, we're definitely not going to be catching them. Ocon is very, very close behind. So I think until the pit window, it's going to be a bit of a battle between us and Ocon, which it seems to actually be a battle between us and Ocon almost every race. So he's a bit of a thorn in my side at the moment. Not so much my teammate. A load of the guys ahead have pitted, so we are now P7. So we can pretend we're in points contention just for a little while until we have to go to the pits and come back out in P12 again. In real life, as of now, it looks like the Australian Grand Prix is going to be postponed and pre-season testing is going to move to Bahrain. So that's definitely going to be interesting, because obviously pre-season testing has primarily been at Spain. And at the time of recording, Lewis Hamilton still hasn't actually signed a contract with Mercedes yet. I mean, we all know that chances are very high that he's going to, but I do find it quite interesting that he hasn't actually put pen to paper yet. I mean, Mercedes don't really have any other choice but to sign him though, because obviously Russell is signed to Williams for another year, so they can't really poach him. Of course, in the real world as well, Ferrari reckon that their engine definitely has another 15 horsepower, which according to them is enough to bring a bit more of a fight to the midfield. However, they do say that they will need about 30 more to be able to start fighting for wins again. So we'll have to wait till testing to see if they've managed to do that. Somehow we're still managing to hold on to the lead from Ocon. He's getting ever closer, but very slight use of the overtake button seems to be taking care of that. as you saw in the development chart, the one thing that we seem to have in our favour is we have a somewhat decent engine. So it does make it a little bit more difficult for the AI to attempt to overtake us, because obviously they can't quite keep up or catch up enough on the straights. Yeah, if you look on the map on the bottom left, Ocon's inability to overtake us appears to be creating quite a bit of a train of cars behind us. So we're definitely slower than them, but like I said, with the engine capability, Ocon's having a bit of a struggle to overtake us. However, I think he might just get it done. No, not quite. He might go down the inside in a second. No. Will we be able to hold on for one more lap? Because that is our pit window. And into the pits we go. Seems like everybody else is pitting, so we're still going to have Ocon quite close behind us when we come out. And out we go. Looks like Sainz has managed to get ahead of Ocon in the pits. So we don't actually have Ocon behind us anymore, we have Sainz. Our teammate is in the pits, and Jeff has just told us that it looks like the rain is coming in just over 5 minutes time. So that's going to be interesting, and as it's this early, we're definitely going to have to pit at some point for either inters or wets. So he might go for a dive on our inside. Try and leave him space, and we just about managed to keep the position for now. He's going to be very close behind us down this bit here. We seemingly have come out just behind Hamilton for some reason. I don't know if that's his second stop of the day or what, but I don't know why he's that far back. Sainz is on the inside. And we just managed to keep it again. Oh, this fight between us and Sainz is getting very, very close. You can see the sky's getting greyer. That rain is certainly coming. We have pushed Sainz very far to our outside, which has kept us in play. But we've had a little pop-up telling us that our rear wing DRS will not open. Again, this is the third race in this career that this has happened. This is insane. What I was about to say is that we had a load of the guys ahead pit again. They must have been on a 2-stop, but that has put us in 9th. Perhaps the worst time to pit, as you know, rain is imminent, so it was kind of pointless. However, we now have Bottas behind us for company on mediums, so I'm not even going to bother trying to fight him, because he is not who we're fighting. And it would be no use anyway, because he's clearly way too fast.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Going down the inside. Try and leave him the room. Very difficult. Oh my god, we are sliding all over the place.
Copy that.
Right, we're going in for inters this lap. I will be very, very glad when we are off of these hards and onto some sort of wet tyres. This is very, very tricky. They've disabled DRS, which I think is a very, very good thing. Although, looking at it, our wing seems to have fixed itself. Oh my god, we have to go so slow around these corners. This is insane.
DRS will be offline.
Jesus, off the line. So, we're into the pits after what feels like an absolute eternity. Our teammate has come in. Hopefully our stop doesn't slow him down too much. So all those guys ahead that were doing 2-stop strategies, that was perhaps the worst strategy they could ever think of. You've got Vettel ahead on medium, so he's got to come into the pits. Oh, hello. Maybe not.
Caution, caution, yellow flags ahead. No overtaking through the caution zone. Be careful until you see the greens.
He appears to have come off the track. So that puts us P5 currently, which is fantastic, shouldn't restart at P12. Again, we seem to be inheriting a fair amount of points based on bad strategy decisions. Looks like Grosjean is now behind Sainz. didn't see him. This whole rain strategy thing seems to have completely shaken up the pack. Looks like we've got a Alpha Tauri who's currently winning the race. But that's how crazy this can be. The fact that an Alpha Tauri is probably going to end up on the podium. And I go very, very, very deep into that corner. Somehow through all this mess, our teammate has seemingly managed to stay 20th the whole race. Because he's still in 20th. And we managed to go wide through that corner once again. Seems to be a bit of a sticking point for us in terms of going wide. And that has allowed Signs to get 4.2 seconds gap. Our gearbox is on 65%, so there is a chance that we'll have some gearbox issues before the end of the race. I definitely hope not, but the possibility is certainly there. Looking at the map, Hamilton has managed to get past the Alpha Tauri, so Hamilton is in first at the moment. Stroll seems to be hanging on to that podium place just about. Whether he'll be able to hold on to it till the end of the race is another question, but he's just about hanging on there. So it looks like Bottas has finally managed to get past Stroll. We are still ahead of Sainz, 4.9 seconds. Verstappen appeared out of nowhere and overtook Grosjean, so he is currently 7th. We've got 1 lap to go, and I can't imagine we're going to lose 4.5 seconds in 1 lap. Come on to the final straight now. We cross the line in P5. So at the end of the race, it ended up with Hamilton winning, and Gasly did actually manage to get onto the podium. So that is fantastic for him. We finished 5th, and our teammate ended up 20th. Which really isn't very good from him. But his best time was a 1:35.0 and ours was a 1:34.7. So in terms of pace, he's not too far off. But his quali pace just isn't there. Like if he was qualifying near us, then chances are he'd probably be quite close. At the end of that, we ended up 5th in the driver standings with 38 points. So we just picked Albon by the looks of it. And then in the constructors, we are 5th with 39. We're now tied with AlphaTauri. As you can see, the midfield, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, there is literally 6 points between us. So it's very, very, very close. Not too dissimilar from the midfield battle in the 2020 real life season. But yeah, other than that, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that fantastic action. Click the links in the description. They are very good. And that's it from me. Good night.